And we are live. What's good, Josh and man? DL Saint. Welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. How y'all feeling out there? How y'all feeling? It's Thursday. It's Thursday. It's almost the end of the week. Hang in there. Hang in there, guys. That's all I can say about that. And I'm messing around with my live feed. Looks like we're going. The feed's okay. Looks like it's okay. How y'all doing out there? So today I had scheduled a show about partner versus being married, because you hear everyone saying partner these days. We pushed that show till tomorrow. It's gonna be a late, maybe even like a lit Saint episode tomorrow. I might sip on a little something. I don't know. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But today, I wanted to talk about the Tates and where they're being held. I was watching. There's a YouTuber out there. I forget his name, but he's a former prosecutor down here in Florida. I forget which county. And he was talking about the Tates. Actually, just kind of gloating. He's kind of happy that the Tates are locked up, and he was just talking some stuff. But during that video, he mentioned the facility in which they were being held, and that is what we're going to talk about today. So again, when we talk about the Tates, I don't know if the guys are innocent. I don't know if the guys are guilty. I knew in America they're innocent until proven guilty, right? That's what they tell you, right? That's what they tell you. So anybody who's been in the system knows. Don't know about that. But money does come into play in the American justice system. But here's the thing: they're not facing justice in the American system. They're facing extradition. They're fighting getting sent to the United Kingdom. So it's a kind of a different thing. It's a Fed case, and Fed hearing. Fed has jurisdiction. It is what it is. So we're gonna get into that. So yeah, let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed. So yeah, man, we're talking about inside FCI Miami, which is where the Tate brothers are alleged to be held. It's alleged that they're being held there. I think that's where they're being held. But I just went to ChatGPT because, again, I'm no expert in this. I'm in aviation, right? I'm a retired air traffic controller. Just kind of looking at what's going on out here. And with the Tates, what I'm seeing is just a whole bunch of people who are convinced they're guilty of the things that they are accused of without benefit of, proof or trial. They're just saying, hey, these guys did this, show you a bunch of clips. And then people are like, yeah, they're guilty, throw them away, lock them up, throw away the key sort of thing. Okay, cool, whatever. Okay, I get that. But I want to stay away from the drama, and I kind of want to focus on, like what's really going on right now. And we're going to talk about where they're being held. Initially, when all this went down, I assumed that they were being held by the county. I thought Dade County had jurisdiction or whatever and was holding them in their facilities. And I was wrong. They're being held at a federal facility, Federal Correctional Institute, FCI Miami. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what that means. A lot of people are saying, they're basically, happy and gloating that they're suffering. Like, they're not eating gourmet meals and they're not, they can't do this and they can't do that. But the funny thing is the fact that they're being held by the feds is way better than being held by the local folks, like, or the county. So if they were in Dade County custody, it would really be bad. Like kind of like here in Hillsborough County. Like I'm in Tampa. If you get picked up and you have to go to Hillsborough County, like the Falkenberg, and you want to talk about food, like it's absolutely god awful. And like the situation is just really bad. And everyone who's been in that I've talked to, they've experienced like the county, the state pens, and the federal jails, penitentiaries. They always say the feds are better. If you ever sit down and talk to somebody, they'll tell you like, oh no, man, the feds is better. It's all bad. But if you got a choice between the three, the guys that I talked to, they're like, yeah, bro, definitely want the feds. So it seems that that's where the tapes are being held. So I used Chat GPT. Shout out to Chat GPT, man. You know, that does a pretty good job. Does a pretty good job. Every now and then I have to correct Chat GPT. It'll say something and it's like, no, that's not correct. And I will feed it the information that I have. And it's funny, the AI will thank you. Oh, thank you for correcting me on that. And it's hilarious. I'm telling you, man, this AI thing is scary on so many levels. But I was curious. I'm like, okay, what's FCI Miami? Where is it? What's the deal? How's it going? How does it go? And if for most people, the vast majority of Americans have no idea what it's like to be locked down, to be incarcerated at any level. So I figured, you know what? Let's jump on. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what they're going through, what they're dealing with, and how it works. Um, so the Tates have been reportedly placed in FCI Miami, one of the Federal Bureau of Prisons' most well-known low security institutions. Right? It's low security. That's huge. That's huge, right? So you're not going to have the worst of the worst in a facility like this, right? This is for low security folks, right? But what's actually inside FCI Miami, would Andrew and Tristan Tate be placed in solitary confinement? We're hearing a lot of talk about that. They were placed in protective custody. I mean, protective custody and low level security doesn't go hand in hand, guys. It's like two, you know what I mean? If you're in a low level facility, who do you need to be protected against? Right? You're not in there. And then you look at the Tates, like Andrew and Tristan Tate. These dudes are, you know, former professional, you know, combat sport people. These guys were professional kickboxers. And a lot of people are like, kickboxers, man, whatever. But they were professional level at that sport. It's a combat sport. And I don't care if it's karate, taekwondo, kickboxing, you know what I mean, Muay Thai, mixed martial arts, you know what I mean, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you know, regular jiu-jitsu, Greco-Roman wrestling. If you are a pro, if you're like at that level, that sets you apart from what, 99% of all people? Like you a pro at something. I mean, if anything, the people in minimum security need to be protected from the pros, right? And, you know, I mean, it takes a big guys, you know what I mean? They're both over 6 feet, you know, well over 200 pounds. And like I said, they're former pro kickboxers. So I doubt if they're being placed in I doubt if they're being placed in isolation or solitary confinement or protective custody. But hey, who knows? So would they be allowed commissary? Can they receive money? Will prison officials treat them differently because they're famous? So today we're going to be separating the Hollywood fiction from Bureau of Prisons reality. So that's the mission today. That's what we got to do. Brother Michael Lee's in the building. What's happening, fam? Good to see you, player. Good to see you, man. So that's what we're here to talk about right now. So let's talk about what is FCI Miami. FCI Miami is a low security federal correctional institution operated by the Federal Bureau of Prisons. It opened in 1976 and sits in Southwest Miami-Dade County. Unlike a maximum security prison seen in movies, FCI Miami houses inmates classified as lower security risk, right? It also includes minimum security satellite prison camp. So it has like a minimum security satellite prison camp attached to the facility there. So again, this is where you're going to send the worst of the worst. You're not going to be sending like real hardened criminals to this facility, right? Even if those people need to go down to Miami, go to court or whatever, they probably put them somewhere else. They probably have them, locked up in Dade. That is probably better suited to handle that sort of thing. So, all right, there it is right there. So I was kind of wondering that myself. I'm like, so the fact that they're in the feds as opposed to the county, bro, that's a win for them. That's a win for anybody. It's just more stuff to do, better quality of care. Like we dealing with the medical people. You get a better caliber of CO, of corrections officer, maybe a little bit more professional, perhaps. Better food, better commissary, a whole bunch of other stuff that's just like better than going to that. Like if you really wanted to taste the suffer, you'll put them in general population in the county, and then house them with the worst of the worst. If you're really trying to hurt them boys, you'll put them in general pop with the gangbangers. You know what I'm saying? With the Aryans. right? And people are like, well, the Tates want to be with the Aryans. Man, the Tates are black, right? And the Aryans know that. So I think they hit a lick by, catching this Fed thing. And remember, they haven't been found guilty of anything. They're not like maybe they weren't found guilty somewhere like Romania or Great Britain, and they're running from it. So it's not like, and they're not facing that. These guys are just been asked to be detained. So these guys are detainees. You know what I mean? They're not convicted felons. So who goes there? Who goes to this FCI Miami? FCI Miami has housed thousands of federal inmates over the years, including drug traffickers, white collar offenders. You got fraud defendants, public corruption cases, organized crime figures, international defendants prosecuted in South Florida. So, you don't get like the top tier list of all the bad guys. But these are people who aren't violent. These are this is a low security place. So it's not like a whole bunch of violent people. And brother Michael Lee was saying that's in downtown Miami. The Dade County holding facility, I think, is downtown Miami. This facility is not downtown Miami. It talks about where it's located here in a second. But because Miami is one of the biggest federal jurisdiction districts in America, the prison frequently receives inmates from major federal cases, probably from wherever they are. The feds might have you anywhere, but if you got to go like the Southern District of Miami, I guess it is, Florida, you wind up down there. So would the brothers be locked down? This is probably the biggest misconception. Many people assume celebrity inmates spend 23 hours a day locked in the cell. According to the Bureau of Prisons, their procedure is how is this worded? According to Bureau of Prison procedures, that is generally not how it works. So, a lot of people were saying, and his attorney said that they were being held in protective custody. They were being held in solitary confinement. That's not normal. That's not normal. Normally, you wind up here, you dealing with these, you getting thrown in the general population with everybody else. They sort you however they sort you. You get housed wherever they tell you you're going to get housed. But it's not automatic that you're going to be in protective custody or wind up locked down. Upon arrival, every inmate goes through a medical screening, which is like the intake process, right? You go through medical screening, mental health evaluation, classification, and then you get your housing assignment. And once you've cleared all that, most inmates designated for general population follow the same daily schedule as everyone else, right? And that's every level. You know what I mean? At the county level, at the state level, fed level. Once you're inside, they got a regiment, guys. Go in there, they got a regiment. Like, this is what you're doing. This is how it goes. From the time that you wake up to the time you go to sleep, there's all that time is filled with something. There's like a schedule. So and they adhere to that schedule. So and just so you guys don't know, like, what is 23 and 1? 23 and 1, it refers to 23 hours locked down, and it usually applies to special housing units, or the SHU, the SHU, administrative detention, disciplinary segregation, protective custody, emergency institutional lockdowns. It is not the normal housing assignment for inmates at a low security federal prison. So when you hear people talking about, man, they locked down 23 and 1, they're in PC, protective custody, they're in the SHU, the special housing unit and all that, they're not normally talking about this type of facility, right? They're not normally talking about this type of facility. You know what I'm saying? Brother Ted's in the building. What's happening, fam? They're not talking about it. Brother BJ is up in here too, man. What's good, BJ? Good to see you, fam. Is this the second time the Tate brothers are dealing with this? This is the first time, to my knowledge, that the Tates have been taken into custody in America. They dealt with this in Romania. Tate dealt with this in the UK. He tells a story how the first time he got locked up. It was some woman accused him of doing something. The Brits came and took him away. They locked him down, and that case went away eventually. But he talks about that at length. If you go back and watch his original podcast, like interviews from back in the day, he did one on Fresh and Fit when he really went in depth onto that, like what happened, how it happened, all that kind of stuff. So, but in America, to my knowledge, this is the first time he's been taken into custody. But he was locked down for a little bit in London, like in Great Britain. And then him and his brother were locked down, along with two women that were like their friends, associates. Two women got locked up with them in Romania. Don't forget that. These women were locked in a Romanian jail cell. And the Romanians are like, look, all you got to do is sign this form saying that the Tates did this, that, and the third. They're bad. You know they're bad. They did these things. And the women refused to do it. They chose to sit in jail as opposed to lying on Tristan and Andrew. So there's that. So, and let me be, all right, let me not be biased. They chose to stay in jail as opposed to signing a document that said that the Tate brothers were guilty of the crimes that they were committed of. And these are two women who got arrested with them and locked up. And the women said, "No, I'm not going to sign that." They stayed in jail. So, I added on that part of like, we're not going to lie, blah, blah, blah. I added that part on there. I don't know if the Tates are guilty or innocent, but those two women who were locked up in a Romanian jail with the Tates, right? In a Romanian jail, I ain't never been in one, but from what I gather, it's way worse than what the Tates are dealing with here in America. Those two women refused to sign a document saying that the Tates were, had done these things in order to get out of jail. They stayed in jail in Romania. So it is what it is. Brother Pablo's in the building. What's happening, fam? Says some similarities with Diddy being charged with, grape and sex trafficking. Yeah, similar to Diddy, but here's the thing with what Combs was doing. They had a solid case against him. Obviously, he's still sitting down. They had a solid case against Sean Combs. Plus, that video of him beating up old girl was just horrific. Believe me, if they had video like that, or if they had solid evidence against the Tates, they would be in a Romanian prison right now. They wouldn't have got released. They wouldn't have been, that wouldn't have been over. They would be dealing with right the Romanian prison system. The fact that they got out lets you know that that case must have been weak. Whereas the case against them that the Brits have against them, we don't know how strong that case is. So, we're waiting to see. Casual Germs in the building. What's good, fam? You saying they're being targeted for sure, but what made them think coming to America was a good idea? Well, they came to America, and I agree with you there, but they came to America because they have a defamation case going on in Palm Beach County. In Palm Beach, they're actually suing the woman who caused all that to happen in Romania. The woman who came forward and said that, he did these things to us, he kidnapped me, I'm being SA'd and all that. That girl, right? They're suing her in Palm Beach County right now. That case has been ongoing for, I think, like 3 years or so. And according to their lawyers, they're doing really good. They're making, headway in that case. They believe that this is going to go to trial here pretty soon. And they're going to win that case. And that woman apparently is the stone that they built these cases on, both Romania and UK. And if they can discredit her, it's like, according to the Tate's defense team, if they can prove that she lied and she's not credible, that they will be able to discredit her, and then all the other cases go away, not just in Romania, but in the United Kingdom. So that's why they were here. I think there was a hearing or something lined up. Plus, the Tates were big fans of Dubai in the Middle East. They was like doing all these things over there, and Trump done jacked up the Middle East, so they can't, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be going over to Dubai because Dubai is getting hit by the Iranians. So they needed somewhere to go. Europe can't go to Europe because the Europeans will do what the Americans are doing now, with take them in custody and extradite them to the UK. So I thought they probably believed they were fairly safe in the US. And they're big time MAGA. They rock with the Trumps, and they were probably believing that Trump would kind of protect them a little bit while they were here. Obviously a miscalculation, right? Obviously a miscalculation. So, I mean, it is what it is. BJ is saying, is trafficking like the movie Sound of Freedom when they take kids from their country and sign them up? I mean, it comes in different forms. Like, you're talking about that, when you're talking about that kind of trafficking thing, it comes in different forms. You have to really look at the law of whatever country you're looking at to see how it's determined. But like here, if you have a minor and you start doing things like crossing state lines or, leaving the country and stuff like that, yeah, that's part of it. That's something. That's the thing. Definitely want to talk to someone in the legal business, either a defense attorney or a prosecutor or whatever, to get the full definitions, or just kind of go into your AI, like go into whatever AI you're using, be it Chat or Claude or whatever, and ask that question. Like what justifies, or what what's entailed in that particular crime. Um, but yeah, good question though, bro. Good question. So let's see, brother Pablo. Yeah, I just watched one or two of your Middle Eastern videos. Oh, cool. Yeah, bro. I just dropped one. Hey man, like it's a problem over there right now, man. Like that's a different conversation. I did a video today. I was in the car, just did it, just put it out. I haven't even done the thumbnails, I haven't done the description or anything yet. I'll do that later. But I just put that out, man. Like it's a real problem. Like what's going on with Iran and the Houthis and all that, it's a real problem. So Trump has to deal with that. If I'm someone like Donald Trump, the last thing I'm thinking about are the Tates. No matter, I personally believe this is just me. This is me talking right here. I have no proof of this, but I believe the Tates came and dropped a couple million with the Trumps. And I think they were paying that money thinking, hey, they're going to be able to give us some cover when we do come to America so we can get this case out of the way in Palm Beach and then we can get out of America. So the Tates are probably real mad right now if that's true. If they paid money to like Donald Trump Jr. or made a donation to one of Trump's business entities or to his campaign or whatever, I think that they were probably real disappointed right now and kind of pissed off. Like, yo, I thought we paid that money so we wouldn't have to deal with this. But again, that's just me speculating. That's just me. We got Cody as King in the building. What's happening, fam? So it's all a psyop. It's a very effective psyop. But yeah, although these cases may be used to set the precedent, but just like all the public cases, is meant to further. Yeah. I'm gonna let y'all read that last part. So, and here's the thing, man. Like, there's definitely a lot of political stuff tied into this. The Tates, politically or I guess in American politics, you would definitely throw them on far right. Definitely in the MAGA world. But they're Americans, but they didn't grow up over here. Their politics is over in UK. So, I'm pretty sure they're extremely conservative over there. A lot of people just don't like the Tates. They don't like what they stand for. They don't like what they say. They don't like the way they make their money. I get that. It is what it is. But are they guilty of the crimes that they're accused of? We don't know. Right. And I was watching an interview today. Tate's attorney, his lead defense attorney, was talking to PBD, Patrick Bet-David, on that platform. And when he was talking about the law and everything, it sounded like he has a pretty solid defense strategy. He was talking about all of the political ties, and he was talking about all the other kind of stuff that was going on. He sounded like a very competent attorney, but when he wasn't, like at the very end, he got to just talking about his politics, and this dude is, this lawyer's big time Trumper, far right guy. This is one of the lawyers that helped to get the people out from the attack on the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? So, and I saw all that, I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? That kind of that makes sense. So, all those people that got arrested and pardoned by Trump once Trump took office, this attorney apparently allegedly was one of the lawyers involved. It was instrumental in getting those people released. And those people should have to serve their time, bro. Like those people who attacked the Capitol, bro, they should be locked up, man. So, but anyway, that's just my take on it. Everyone has theirs. And Brother Tez, it was like, I get why people don't like the Tates, but when they got out of jail the first time, they had a real rallying cry for men to get off their butts and put in the work. I respect that. Yeah. And if the Tates beat this, bro, ain't no stopping them. Ain't no stopping them. If they beat this one, bro, ain't no stopping them. And again, it is what it is. They're gonna, if they beat this, they're gonna make so much money. If they're not billionaires for real, they'll definitely be billionaires on the other side of this. But it's a lot riding on this, man. They might lose their freedom. They might get locked up in UK for 100 years. They'll never come out of, they'll never breathe free air again. It's a possibility. But what's going on here, what the Tate's defense lawyer did say about their case, that I found striking is like, hey, they can be held here as detainees for like up to a year, maybe more, while this is being hashed out through the courts. So they might wind up doing a year in this FCI facility, a year. And bro, mind you, they haven't been found guilty of anything. They're just guilty in the eyes of the public, right? The court of public opinion, like the lynch mob wants them, but they haven't been found guilty of anything. So we're going to have to see that. And Casual Journal is saying, not going to lie, Iran hitting every country associated with the U.S. and Israel is a pretty big flex. Fact, Iran and the Houthis. The Houthis shut down the Red Sea. So that's two waterways that are critical to oil that's been shut down, man. Um, they're deterring people without deploying them from their country. Yeah, bro, I'm sorry, they're deleting. They're deleting people without deploying from their country, man. Yeah, I mean, we're we've lost 18 soldiers. Um, we don't know how much equipment we've lost and wounded, seriously wounded, like well into the 400s. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. So let me get back to before we get off into that, I don't want to, that's a different topic. I will definitely talk about that topic. We'll do a live on it. I'm waiting till Monday. I want to see how bad it goes through the weekend because, oil right now, this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. And I'm going to get back to the Tate thing. The oil right now, was trading at between 98 and $101 per barrel today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. It's probably going to be it's probably going to trade higher than that tomorrow. So that really affects what's going on here in America and all over the world, especially here in America. That's going to affect the cost at the pump. So, if you're already paying $4, a little over $4 for regular unleaded, that's going to be over $5 now. Right? That's just because they're getting the oil for $100 a barrel. The more the oil is, the more you pay at the pump, and then the more everything else costs. I think diesel right now is over $5 a gallon. So everything's going up. Everything's going up, man. And this is, MAGA's fault. And no other way to put it. Y'all voted for this dude. I can't believe even MAGA right now, and we're going to talk about this, MAGA is starting to push back. MAGA is starting to get upset, right? It is what it is. Like, it is what it is. It's like, oh man, again, yes, sir, Dr. B is in the building. What's happening, fam? You know what I mean? So yeah, but let's get back to the facility. This is what's going on with the Tates. So we talked about what 23-1 is. That's when you basically giving yourself for 23 hours out of the day. You get 1 hour to kind of walk around on the yard or whatever. They take it to another spot. We can walk around for an hour. That's 23-1. That's not normal. That doesn't normally happen. If the Tates are in that situation, okay, something else must be going on. Something else must be going on. Like, why would you put the Tates on lockdown? Now, maybe they went in there and they did something. Maybe they hit somebody, it's a possibility. Maybe they was talking crazy to the guards. It doesn't take much to get to get into a situation where you're dealing with disciplinary segregation. You can just look at the guards wrong, say something they don't like, man, they'll put you in a holding cell, right? And if they truly don't like you, man, they'll leave you in there. They just leave you in there, bring your food in there, whatever. They'll leave you in there, leave you isolated. I saw that at the county level. And if you're a real problem, they got even more tricks for you. Like they'll deal with you. But if you're not going in there being disrespectful, if you're not making a lot of noise, if you're following the rules, if you're getting, if you're getting with the program, doing what you're supposed to do, they're not going to put you on 23-1. They have no reason to. So, but there's a lot of people talking about that. Tate's lawyer was talking about that. That's cruel and unusual punishment that goes against the Geneva Convention and blah, 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 blah. I don't see him being locked up, him and his brother being locked up in, that situation, being locked down for 23-1. I just don't see it. Both of them, I just don't see it. But it is possible. But Tate is talking to people. And if you're locked down, if you're in a 23-1 situation, I don't think they let you use your phone calls and stuff like that. I don't think they just let you reach out to folks. So, we'll see what's up with that. But let's talk about a typical day inside of FCI Miami. A normal day includes morning count, right? Morning count, you're still in your bunk. So when morning count doesn't even really affect you. The guards, COs, what you want to call them, deputies, are going around just counting the heads in the bed. You got your morning count, you got breakfast, right? Everyone gets up for breakfast. If you're in a dorm situation, you get up, go to the tables. They'll have like food there. You go up, get your tray, sit down, eat your tray, take your tray back, and that's breakfast. Work assignments, educational programs, recreation, library access, exercise, dinner, evening count, same thing. Now you're up. They'll just have everybody sit on their bunks or whatever. Deputy goes around and count everybody. Lights out. Federal prison is highly structured, like all jails and prisons are. Every minute of the day is scheduled, and that's facts. That's facts. Mandrell's in the building. What's good, fam? Mandrell, I owe you a call, bro. I know I missed your phone call, man. And I saw what you was talking about. Again, I keep trying not to talk about politics too much, but Congress just passed a bill that basically ties the American military apparatus to the Israeli military apparatus. That's what Mandrell was talking about yesterday. Right? I believe that's what you was talking about, brother. And that is insane. That is insane. I talked about it in my little rant in my car today. Why are we doing that? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Israel and Israeli politicians and Netanyahu, they're having their way with Trump and the Americans, bro. They're absolutely having their way. It's just kind of crazy. Cody is saying he heard that them being in solitary was fake news. I believe so, bro. I believe it was fake news. There's no reason to put them in solitary. And this is why I wanted to have this show. As you guys see, like, the facility that they're in is not really set up for hardened criminals. This is for low-level offenders, man. This is for kingpins, you know what I mean? Like the Bernie Madoff's people, the people who be stealing money, white-collar crime. You know, this is for those type people. Basically, people with money. People who got, like, real good defense folks. Like, this is, you know, like that Giselle Maxwell lady, she went through there. You know what I mean? This is for those people. So, I mean, that's just how it works, man. And that's their day, bro. You know, and like at the feds, like at the county level, you know, this schedule is real similar at the county level. Like, they do their accounts. You get up for breakfast. You do that. Most of the time you have breakfast early, like at 4:30 in the morning. You jump back in your bunk if you want to. Most people just go back to sleep. And then you're good to go until about 9 o'clock or so. And that's when, like, some classes would start. I was in the veterans pod. So the veterans pod was different. They had a little more structure, and had, like, more educational opportunities and stuff like that. Work stuff and just whatever. So, you know, we get up and, you know, you would set up for class and you would have your class that would last a couple hours, and you would get lunch. Then, like, lunch would be over. And then pretty much when you're not in class or you're not doing something, like, a lot of guys would sign up for other courses and they would come get you. Like, let's say you signed up for, what kind of courses could you sign up for? Forklift. Let's say you signed up for a forklift driver's course, right? They have that at the county level. They have that in the county, like here in Hillsborough County. You're in the jail area of Falkenberg. You say, hey, I want to learn how to drive a forklift. You get signed up to that course. They accept you. So that course might be three times a week for a couple hours a day. So when it's time for you to go take your forklift class, they'll come get you. They'll come get you. And it doesn't matter if it's like, you know, like if you miss breakfast or you miss lunch or whatever, they come get you for the class. And wherever you go, they're going to feed you. So, and it's like, or they just hold your food for you. So let's say that they come get you right before lunch. You go do your forklift class for a couple hours. You come back. The deputy will still have your lunch for you. Like, hey, man, here's your lunch. We saved your lunch for you. That kind of thing, right? So if you got a class or you got somewhere you got to go, they come get you and they take you to where you have to go. So, but everything else, you're in that dorm. You're not going anywhere. Like, you know, for someone like me, I was only there a short time. I didn't sign up for any outside courses. So I was there for the courses in our dorm. We had that. So we would have the course. When the course is over, you're pretty much free to do whatever you want to do. You know, there's certain rules in the dorm that you got to abide by, but you can go outside on the yard. You can kind of, you know, walk around, exercise. They had like basketball, like a little hoop rim out there. If you want to hoop or whatever, want to run around the yard, you can do that. You can stay in your little cubicle, maybe read. I did a lot of reading. They had some books there. There are TVs. Every dorm had like a couple TVs per dorm, but the vet pod had this huge additional TV, like a 90-inch TV, this huge smart TV with DVDs. So it's like an extra privilege because, you know, your vet in this dorm is set up for vets, and they would, you know, watch movies. So you can go over and watch movies if you wanted to. You can read. You can grab your Bible, read your Bible if you wanted to. You can watch videos on your tablet. I told you about the tablets. Like, you can go on the tablets and, you know, there are classes on the tablet you could take. I looked at a whole bunch of history courses, and you just kind of go through, and they have like these videos. You talk about different things in history and stuff like that. If you want to talk about the Industrial Revolution, World War I, World War II, you know, you could talk about, you know, the Civil Rights era, Jim Crow. You could talk about, you know, the Revolutionary War. It's just stuff. It's like college level courses, and I would just sit there and watch the videos. So at the county level, you had a lot. The feds offer even more. And I will say this about the county level, man, the food was god awful. I mean, god awful, bro. It's not like that at the feds. From what I understand, the food at the feds are pretty good. From what I'm being told, you know what I mean? It's pretty good. So let me catch up with the chats real quick, man. I'm just going to show everybody's chat. I know it comes up in a little stream there, but I want to put it on the big screen for everybody. So again, if you really wanted to torture the Tates, you know, you'd have figured out a way to charge them with something locally. Ron DeSantis could have figured out a way to get them charged on something locally, and then they would wind up being held at the county level, and they would absolutely hate that. We got Donald J. DeMarco on the building. What's happening, fam? Yeah, like, bro, it ain't nothing easy about that life, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It sucks. But if you're in that, right, if you're in that world, you rather be at the Fed level than at the, the state or the county level. And yeah, that free gym membership, bro, no weights in the county. So it's all you, bros, push-ups, sit-ups, what I mean, squats, and just different variants of those things, like handstand push-ups and all this, just different. You'll be surprised how innovative inmates get when it comes to their workout. Because these dudes are shredded, bro. Shredded. And they're eating garbage food and they're still able to get shredded. So, but like in the feds, you got library access. Didn't have that in the county. The feds probably have better facilities as far as exercising. They might have like a full gym. Probably no weights, but they probably have like those uh the pulleys and all that. They might have that. I don't know. Again, I've never been in the fed situation, and the food is better. So that's what they're dealing with now. That's what the Tates are dealing with now. Can the Tate brothers receive money? Right? Can they get money? What we talking about? Getting money on your books. Y'all done heard this a million times, right? Money. Can you get money on your books? And that answer is yes, they can receive money. Every federal inmate has a trust fund account, right? So the trust fund account, when people talk about their books, I got money on my books. That's what they're talking about. The trust fund account. That money, you receive that money from whoever, whatever entity, and the system, the folks, to run the jail, run the prison, run whatever, they maintain your accounts and they put that money on your books. Every federal inmate has a trust fund account. Now, it doesn't mean you got money in there, but you have the account is set up. And a lot of times, there's a lot of inmates in there whose accounts, they're negative. Their trust fund account, their books, they're negative because the jail or the institution will charge you for certain things. Like if you got to go to the med bay, they may charge you for that. If you need stamps or envelopes, they might charge you for that. There's certain things they might charge you for. So you might have some inmates that over the years just run up a deficit and they might have, maybe $50, $100, $200 in the hole. But most people, not most, but the lucky guys, right? I would say the top 20%ers, their family got money or they have money, got people could put money on your books for you. Those guys have bread on their books. And we're talking like, in some cases, like thousands of dollars on their books, right? So someone like Tate, he will have thousands of dollars on their books. And then depending on where you go, there may be limits to how much money you can have on your books. So I know in California, although I've never been locked up in Cali, I work with a guy who used to work in the jails. And we asked, I had a friend that got locked up and I'm like, well, how much money I want to put some money in my dude's books. How much can I send? Is there a limit? We called, he called up some of his partners that, he worked with in the sheriff's department. He was like, nah, man, there's no limit on the books. You can send as much money as you want, California, no limit. So, so there's that. When people talk about their books, they're talking about how much money they have in that trust fund account. So, but that money, right? That money can be deposited by approved methods from family and friends, subject to Bureau of Prison policies, and any court-ordered restrictions. So I guess the court could put restrictions on that, like you can only get so much money, or the court might want to see and verify that the money is not coming from illegal activity. So they might say, let's say you're in there and, after your arraignment, the judge says, well, look, the prosecution is like, well, look, Your Honor, these guys get money from illicit places. They have, we believe that they're running a criminal organization and that money is tainted. The judge might say, okay, any money that you guys receive have to come from this type of a source and it has to be vetted or whatever. That might happen. But the Tates, come on, bro. You talking about Andrew and Tristan Tate. There's so many people who just send them money. It's like, oh, I'll send you money from my account and you guys just drop me some crypto. Send me the crypto, I'll send you the money. It's people who do that. So I don't think this would affect the Tates. And I've never personally ran into a situation where the judge would restrict someone getting money. Because when you get locked up, man, it's all about the bread. At the end of the day, man, it's just an ecosystem designed to get as much money as they can out of the inmates and the family and the support system of the inmates. So I was in there for 65 days. I spent well over $150 on my books, and I wasn't even crazy with it. Most of that was me giving stuff away. It was me getting things for other people that I got cool with where I was in there. And we'll talk about that in a minute, how that works. But those funds can be used for commissary purposes, right? Even if the court puts some restrictions on there. So let's talk about the commissary, man. The commissary isn't a luxury store, bro. The commissary isn't Macy's, you know what I mean? It's not Walmart. It's not Walgreens. It's not Target. It's basically like a little convenience store, right? So Typical purchase items include like coffee, ramen noodles, candy, protein items, soap, toothpaste, shampoo, stationery, stamps, headphones, radios, approved clothing. Right. You can buy, like, you see people wearing different kind of like shoes, and they got on like, like maybe like a jacket or some like the long shirts. It's all prison approved, so it's all prison gear. But you got to buy that stuff. The Bureau of Prison also limits how much inmates can spend each month. Each month, I didn't know that. That's like a Bureau of Prisons thing. I didn't know that, because when I was in, there was no restriction on paying on how much you can get a month. You can spend as much money as you got. You got $300 you want to spend this month on commissary, you can spend it. They take every bit. So even wealthy inmates shop under the same rules. No matter how much money you have access to, you're still under the same rules. When you talk about like the candy and ramen noodles, the coffee, the commissary prices are jacked up. Like, they are very, very, very high. Like, if you get a packet of M&Ms, you like the small little packet of M&Ms, like just a regular individual packet of M&Ms, that's $3, right? One of those cinnamon rolls you get at the gas station, like a Texas cinnamon roll, that's $2.50 for one. Right? You look at the ramen noodles and all that. For what you would pay for a packet of ramen noodles, you can probably buy like a whole like case of ramen noodle, right? So the commissary stuff ain't cheap. Right, it ain't cheap at all. Hold on one second. My daughter's coming up here looking for me. She can't open nothing. Why can't you open that? I mean, you took everything else off and it was almost open. You just do some push-ups or something. You ain't gotta be up. See? My daughter couldn't open up her peanut butter. Love you. I love you more. So, anyway, I highlighted my day, as you can see. I just love being a dad, man. It's great stuff. So the commissary stuff, man, is so expensive, man. Like, you have like we would call them juice sticks, like little Kool-Aid sticks. So you have like those little, how do you even describe it? Those little, it's like a little Kool-Aid pack. It's kind of long. It's like a little wider than maybe a straw would look like. And it's like pre-mixed Kool-Aid or whatever. You just kind of put it in water and stir it up. Those things, I mean, you buy them. I think I want to say it was $1 for 5 of those or something like that. I can't remember. I have my receipts when I was in. I'm gonna do a show talking about commissary. Damn, that actually would have been good for this show. Right now, I could have just kind of read the receipt for how much I spent on the Kool-Aid packets. So you got like Kool-Aid and stuff like that. Everything's more expensive, bro. Everything's more expensive. If you're talking about a bar of soap that might cost 75 cents out here, is probably $1.50 in there. So the money goes a long way. And the thing about commissary is the currency in jail, right? So if you got money on your books, if you got commissary bread, and you can pay for phone calls, you can pay for text messaging, emails, anything that costs money comes off your books, right? So if I'm sitting there with $10,000 on my books, and everybody in the pod knows it, they're like, bro, man, I could go holler at Saint if like something happened, man. Man, I ain't got no more time on my phone. They can come holler at me like, hey, bro, I really need to make a phone call. There's something going on with the family, man. Can you help me out, bro? And it's like, okay, how much money you need for the phone call? Like, bro, I just need like $10 because I gotta call a bunch of family members. This some stuff going on with the money outside. My kids got hurt, whatever the case may be. All right, $10. I'll give you $10 of phone calls, right? I'll give you $10 somehow. I'll have my people send you the money, whatever, but you're gonna have to pay me back. So you're gonna have to pay me back in commissary. I gave you $10, so you're gonna have to give me $10 worth of stuff in commissary, be it coffee, ramen noodles, candy, protein items, soap, toothpaste, whatever. You're gonna have to give me $10 worth of stuff. If you got some commissary, give me some of your commissary, give me $10 worth of stuff, or order this stuff from me. Like, I want you to order me a pair of loafers. I want you to order me some glasses, some reading glasses. I want you to order me this or that. And that's how the transactions go down, right? Your commissary is currency in there. And then there's people who have no commissary at all. They have no money, right? They don't really have family that can help them like that. Those dudes are stuck. So what do? They're like, man, I would love to get me a honey bun, or I would love to get me some some Kool-Aid or some coffee, well, they got to work it off. And it's non-sexual, guys. No, people like, you got to work it off. Oh man, this is where they drop the soap. Nah. What I mean by that is they'll they'll agree to do things like they'll agree to keep your area clean. They'll basically be your valet. It's like, all right, you make up my bed. You give me your cookie at every lunch and every dinner meal. You give me your dessert uh, to help pay off your debt. You sweep my cell or you sweep my area, right? You come in there, you sweep it up. Like the Tate brothers, they probably got their own little cubicle. It's probably just them two in there, like on it, because it's like, it's a dorm kind of situation. They probably got their own little cubicle. Like, yeah, you come in here, you clean up for me and my brother, wipe down the walls, spray for the bugs and whatnot. And the guys are like, cool, I'll do that. They'll do that. They'll gladly do that work so they can get some commissary, right? They can get some movies. Like, so now the Tates are like, cool, I got you. Here goes some honey buns, cinnamon buns. You want some coffee? What else you want? It's basically like you got a store. They working for you every week. And it's like, all right, open up the drawers. Go ahead and get whatever you want, bro. What you want? Show me what you want. All right, cool. You got that. Okay, cool, cool, cool. You just took $30 worth of stuff. And that's cool. That's what I'm paying you. I'm paying you $30 a week to keep my area cool. You know what I'm saying? And then if you need information, like let's say you in there, that's like in the jails or whatever, you got some information for me, something you think that I really want to know, you come up and give it to me and like, all right, cool, I appreciate the information. It go $10 worth of commissary. So that's kind of like what it is. But these guys aren't in there with like hardened criminals. They're not like sharpening up shanks. They ain't worried about like prison politics and all this other kind of stuff. The Tates, they're sitting in a situation where they're like, man, all right, cool. This sucks a little bit, but this ain't Romania. This is way better than the Romanian jail. They're sitting there watching their stuff on TV. You know what I mean? Like they're able through commissary to buy their own television. They could buy their own TV, man, have it, sitting in their little section. You know what I mean? If they got sales, they can run their sale the way they want to run it. They in there, got their TV set up, man. They paying for everything. So this really wouldn't be that bad, man. This really wouldn't be that bad. Let me catch up on the chat real quick, man. But yeah, bro, it's wild out here. Let me just put all this up. But where they are, man, the commissary goes a long way, man. And they charge a lot of money, bro. At the work camp, yeah, bro, you need that. Need that dad strength. Yeah, when my daughter came up. But yeah, man, I mean, that's what they're going through, right? And they're going to get into that process. They're going to get into that situation where, they get into the routine. It is what it is. Their food is going to be way better than the food that we were getting served up here in Hillsborough County. Like I said, it was god awful, man. No fresh fruits, no fresh vegetables or anything like that. Hardly any vegetables at all. If you got any, they were like the frozen. It was the worst food ever. The worst quality of everything that they give you at our level. I lost 25 pounds in 65 days. I refused to eat it. I only ate like the oatmeal sometimes. The only thing I ate completely was when they had grits. I would eat the grits. And they had like cake. Every time they served breakfast, it would be like a breakfast cake. Think like of a coffee cake kind of thing. Get like a little square piece of that, about like that thick and about that big around or whatever. They put, you put that in to your grits or your oatmeal. You can mix it up and then you can eat it. But that's all I would eat, man. I wouldn't touch any of the rest of the stuff, man. It was god awful at the county level. At the federal level, the food is way better. And in different counties, some guys were telling me like, yeah, Hillsborough County is real bad on food, but you might have some of these other counties in Florida where the food is better, the other facilities where they have better food because that's all taken care of through contracts. So yeah, man, it's not a bad deal for the Tates being in a federal facility, right? So does fame matter? Let's get into that. One of the biggest myths is that celebrity inmates get special treatment. When you go in there, man, you put on orange or yellow or gray or stripes or whatever they got you wearing, you just another inmate, bro. They don't care who you are. They really don't. So celebrity really doesn't matter. If anything, celebrity will work against you, right? So one of the biggest myths, like we said, celebrities are going to help you. The Bureau of Prisons doesn't classify inmates based on fame. They classify them based on security level, criminal history, violence, right? Escape risk, institutional behavior, medical needs. However, if a prison official, right, if prison officials determine that an inmate faces a credible safety threat, they may temporarily separate that inmate from general population, right? So when people said that, I think Brother Pablo was saying that Myron on his platform, Myron Gaines X was saying that they're in danger and they had to put them in protective custody because people are coming for them, and the Matrix is attacking them, and they're gonna send people inside to get them like Epstein. Now, I don't believe that's the case at all. But they can separate you because they believe you're being targeted by the other inmates. But again, they're at a low level facility. They're in a dorm. It's gonna be really hard to get to the Tates in that kind of method. And there's two of them. You know what I mean? It's like it's Andrew and Tristan. And like I said, these dudes know how to handle themselves. They can at least put up a fight. So I don't think that they have to worry about that. I don't believe that they're in protective custody. I'm inclined to believe what Cody was saying, and it was just fake news. But if that were to happen, that's a security decision. That's not a celebrity privilege decision. That's a security thing. So what prison doesn't change, whether someone is wealthy, famous. So it's like, this is what prison doesn't change. Whether someone is wealthy, famous, or completely unknown, everyone lives under the same institutional rules, right? And that's a fact. No matter what the rules are, they don't care who you is. Like if Donald Trump got locked up in one of those facilities, that's a stretch because he's a president. I don't know how that would work because he's still afforded security. Like Secret Service still got to protect him. But, in theory, you can have a former president, a former king, a former emperor. It doesn't matter. Once you in there, you in there. You in there. You got to follow the rules like everybody else. You don't get no special treatment. You wake up when the prison tells you to wake up. You eat when the prison tells you to eat. You work where the prison assigns you. And if you don't, they're going to deal with you. Right? That's what discipline is all about. And your freedoms are dictated by the Bureau of Prisons policy. So that's what they're dealing with right now, right? That's what the Tates are dealing with. So we'll do a few discussion questions. Like this I didn't mean this to be like some real long, drawn out thing. I just wanted to kind of cover some stuff. But do you think celebrity inmates should receive additional protection? I don't. If you're a celebrity and you locked up, bro, that means you got tried and convicted or whatever you got convicted of. You got to do your time. I don't think you should get any special treatment. If you're afraid to be on the yard, if you're afraid to be in general population, you can always ask to be put in the shoe. You can request to be put in the shoe, and they'll put you in there. But you shouldn't be given. I mean, look at Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez went in. He was doing his time or whatever. He out in Cali doing his thing. I guess somehow he wound up in the shoe. I don't know if he did it on his own or California put him in there because it was just, they didn't want him to get extorted or whatever. But he still got touched. He still wound up getting, he got shanked up. He survived the attack, but he was in protective custody. So like that's real prison. That's the real deal. That's not what the Tates are dealing with. The Tates are at a low-level security holding facility that's run by the feds. Would you rather serve time in a federal prison or a state prison? Right. First of all, you don't want to serve time, period. Let's just get that out there. You do not want to get in jail. But like I said, throughout this process, I'd rather be in a fair facility than a state or a county facility. You just more resources. As far as jail goes, you're going to get the best available for being incarcerated. Better food. Maybe you're going to get a higher quality of guard, CO type. Maybe they got more training because it's federally mandated. I don't know. You're going to have, like I said, access to the library, maybe have better, workout facilities and stuff like that, maybe a better yard. I'd rather be at the feds myself. Were you surprised that low-level security federal prison is very different from what Hollywood portrays? Most people would probably say, yeah, but were you surprised about that? Most folks have no idea what's going on. Most folks haven't been incarcerated, and that's a good thing. You shouldn't be locked up. You shouldn't be locked up. Do you think wealth matters once someone enters prison? Here's the thing. Wealth always matters. So long as we got a program and a process where you can have money on your books and you can buy things from commissary, that's going to give you an edge. I mean, for real, that's going to make your time easy. If you're sitting on, tens of thousands of dollars every month on your books, people going to holler at you, bro. They're going to holler at you. They're going to either try to extort you. They're going to offer services. Like if you got that kind of money, people going to come up to you and be like, yo, man, we'll protect you. Like, I don't need any protection. But if you need some, come holler at me. You know what I mean? I got better rates than the old boy over there or old boy over there. I got commissary store. You need some, come holler at me, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm reasonable. Now they think you were, they think you a little sheep, but actually like you a wolf. Like, man, I know how this works. This is an economy like any other economy. I made $1 billion in the real world. You don't think I'm gonna make some money in here? Like, so that's one of the things. Like, and they'll come holler at you. Like you will have your people. It's going, you're gonna have your own security, but it's gonna be your people. You're gonna pick and choose. But if you're just a regular dude, you're just doing your time. It's like, come on, man, I ain't even here for all that. But I got commissary. What you need? Come holler at me, man. You ain't got to talk to me like that. You ain't got to threaten me. What you need? Sit down and talk to me. Right? You need this? Okay, well, this is what I'm gonna need in return. Right? And it's gonna work out that way. And if the guy's like, well, I'm just gonna take it, well, I do have security. I do have my people in here. They're standing behind you right now. You want to deal with them or you want to deal with me? And that's just how you got to do it in when you lock down. And here's the thing: when I was doing my little thing with the county or whatever, and I'm talking to people who's doing their state stuff and people who've been in the feds, they're like, bro, if you don't really go run into the drama, there is no drama. You just do your time. You just do your time. You might have a problem with this person here and there. You handle that like men, whatever. But overall, like, you just do your time. Now, the people in California, they say it's way different out there. I've heard about the California systems. A lot of politics going on out there. Never been in that system. But that's the question, man. Do you think wealth matters when someone enters prison? Wealth always matters. So in closing, man, FCI Miami isn't a luxury resort. It's nowhere near that. It's not club fed. But it also isn't a violent maximum security prison many people imagine, right? It's a structured federal institute where institution where inmates live according to Bureau of Prison rules, regardless of their wealth or public profile. For the Tate brothers, if they can remain at FCI Miami, they'll be expected to adapt to that system just like everyone else. And I believe they're going to remain there. I believe that's where they're going to be. They're going to get with that program, learn that program. It might take 6 months. It might take a year. It might take longer. I think they're just going to stay there. That's a good place for them to be. If they get moved, that's when I'll start saying, all right, maybe there's something to this matrix stuff. If they get moved somewhere, you know what I mean, like a higher level security prison, if they get moved where they're, on the yard, on the tier, you know what I mean, in the pod with like hardened criminals, then I would say, hey, man, something's up. Like, what's up with that? They're good where they are. They're good where they are. And then Brother Michael Lee was saying it's downtown Miami. I think the facility is near the zoo. So I think that's like down, isn't that like the Kendall area? I think this facility is near the zoo. As a matter of fact, I looked it up on my phone. I don't think it's downtown Miami, but I could be wrong. And I thought it was in my notes. It was in something else I was looking at. So, but anyway, that's it, guys. That's the show. You know what I mean? This is what's going on with the Tates. Remember, these guys are detainees. Technically, I think that's the term for the Tates. They're being detained pending an extradition request with the United Kingdom. So there's a whole process that they're going to face. I think they made a bad decision coming to America, but they had to come to America for this Palm Beach trial that they're going through. This is defamation case that they filed against this woman that they're fighting. And when you look at it, I don't know how that works. Their attorney is trying to get them some sort of bail. They want to get them some sort of bond so they can be free to move around, so they can go to Palm Beach and they can be present at this trial. I don't know if they're going to get bond. They just have their access to like private jets and whatnot. The fact that they're all over the world, it's really hard for a judge to deny the fact that makes them a flight risk, even though their attorney is going to say, hey, look, we got this thing with Romania. They have to come back once a month to these hearings. They've never missed a hearing. They're always there. They'll do the same thing here. They're not running from anything. I think that's going to be hard to get a judge to sign off on that. I don't know. That'd be kind of hard. Maybe if they went in and said, hey, well, can you have them restricted to this compound and they're going to pay the state to provide protection, basically to keep them inside the compound. Maybe, but that would cost so much money. I don't think I wouldn't do it if I were the Tates. I don't care how much money I had. I'm like, that's a lot of money. And here's the thing: the state might be responsible for transporting the Tates from Miami-Dade County up to Palm Beach County for the hearing, the defamation hearings. But I don't know if they would even do that because it's not a criminal proceeding or whatever. So I don't know if Dade County would do that. And I guess the third option is they can do stuff remotely. So, they can just set up the cameras and the Tates can, be a part of the hearing, via the remote link, and their defense team or their lawyers can be in trial or, in the trial doing whatever they have to do. Because I was even thinking, like, if this thing is in Doral at this facility, they got to transport these boys from Doral to downtown Miami. I mean, it's not a long ride, depending on what time of day it is, but it could be like 30, 45 minutes if you hit traffic or whatever, and you're really uncomfortable, man. You shackled, you know what I mean? Hands and wrists are shackled. You shackle to yourself, you shackle to each other, and you're sitting in like a van. That's not comfortable. It's not like you got cushions in there, man. It's like really uncomfortable, or maybe a bus or something. So that would actually suck. You got to go 45 minutes one way up to this hearing, and hearing lasts 15 minutes and get back on locked up again, and then drive back 45 minutes to the facility. Even if it's just 20 minutes, it's real uncomfortable, bro. So those are the options. Those are the things that the Tates are going to be facing. But in the short term, sitting down in FCI Miami, like, bro, this is the best situation for them, all things considered. So that's it, guys. That's all I got, man. I hope you guys enjoyed that. As far as the Tate, again, the Tates, people keep asking me, he's like, man, you out here, you caping for them. I'm like, look, bro, I don't know if these guys are guilty or not. I just want them to have their day in court, and we'll see. We'll see. If they beat this, if the Tates beat this, they beat the Romanian thing, if they beat this extradition request and they wind up in UK eventually and they beat that, man, ain't no stopping these boys. Ain't no stopping these boys. They're going to be mega, 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 super ultra rich, right? Ain't nothing stopping these boys because they're going to be suing everybody. The Romanian government is going to get sued. The United Kingdom is going to get sued. The U.S., maybe not. If the U.S. just kind of complies and does everything right with the treaty, with this extradition, the U.S. might be like, hey, man, we had nothing to do with it. Go get the Brits. But that girl who's currently being sued for defamation right now, that's going to happen all over the place. So if the Tates beat this, well, if you thought they were bad before, my goodness. And, that's just that. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, man. We got Casual Germ. One last comment, man. Do VA with disability benefits still receive payment once in jail? No, the answer to that question is no. After 30 days, if you're incarcerated I think it's 60 days. If you're incarcerated for 60 days, the VA what they do is they reduce your VA payout to 10%. Wherever you are, let's say you're at 100%, they will reduce your payout to 10% while you're incarcerated. And then once you get out, they will restore your benefits to where they were before you got incarcerated. The reason being is like, well, you don't need the money because, you're being housed, you're being fed and all that. Your medical care is being taken care of by the state or the feds, whoever it may be. So that's a good question, bro. The answer to that question is after 60 days, they will have the option to reduce your benefit. I was in there with some guys who've been in there longer than that 60-day cutoff, and their benefits hadn't been touched. I was in there with a couple guys who've been in there for a couple of years. Their benefits hadn't been touched, but they did get notifications, and they knew, like, they can't take it. And let's say that you've been in there for 3 years. Say you've been in there for 3 years beginning your VA benefits, and the VA decides, you know what, we're supposed to reduce your benefits. You know how when you get your money, you get all the money back to a certain date, you get all of it. You know what I mean? They'll just go back and say, oh, well, you don't just get this increase starting this month. You get this increase going all the way back 2 or 3 years and you get all that money. Well, that's how they take it. So if you've been in there for 3 years and they haven't taken the money, they'll go back to that date where you weren't supposed to be getting that money, where it was supposed to go back to 10%, and they'll take that amount. So it's not like, oh, we're going to start reducing your payment next month. We're going to take you down from 100% to 10%. Start now. Nah, they go all the way back 3 years and they claw all that money back. So it's kind of catch-22. And I tell the vets, like, bro, if you in here, you're going to be in here for a year or plus or something like that, and you still getting VA money, don't touch it. Don't touch that money because the VA might come looking for it and they're going to take all of it. So don't touch that money. Leave that money, put that money aside. Do not touch it. So when they do come get it, you have it. They take that money, like, all right, cool, you have it. And then you'll still be positive, even though it's only 10%, whatever 10% is, at least, you're not big time negative. So that was a real good question, man. Yeah, vets with disability, if you get VA benefits and you get locked up, I think down here, well, I think anywhere, I think the magic number is 60. If you're locked up for more than 60 days, they can come and take your benefits. They'll lower your benefits down to 10%. So yeah, that's the thing. So if you're locked up, or you know someone who's locked up in that situation, and they've been in there, make sure you tell them, like, hey man, save that money. Don't spend that bread. So anyway, that's it. That's all I got, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll be back tomorrow around 10 o'clock. We're going to be talking about marriage versus partnerships and why that's going on right now. So I had a very interesting conversation with someone recently, and I was like, yo, you know what? They actually told me, like, this would be a good topic. You should cover this. And I'm going to do it. So that'll be tomorrow, 10 p.m. is what I've tentatively scheduled for. Maybe it'll be a little earlier, maybe it'll be a little later. Just keep eyes open on the thumbnails. And that's it, man. I'm DL Saint. This is the I Really Want to Know podcast. I'm gonna holler at y'all later.
Darn, that's the end.
Thanks for watching. We really appreciate your support. And if you like that video, check out this one or maybe that one. We'll see you around. Peace.